Hey, Book Talk, let's have a chat about Jessie Hall. If someone tells you that a stereotype in a book is harmful to their community, maybe listen to them instead of trying to say, well, I read that book and I didn't see an issue with it. Okay, you were not the community that it was harmful towards, so obviously you didn't see an issue with it. But if someone of that community is telling you, hey, this is a harmful stereotype, maybe let's not do this, this is racist, why is your first reaction to be defensive towards something you know nothing about? Think about it. Anyways, I don't support Jessie Hall, and I hope that you don't either.
I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at animal cruelty.
You can excuse racism.
Hello, beautiful people. Let's discuss book stuff. And today's video, we're going to discuss what the hell happened in December, because I feel like everything kind of hit the fan, especially around the holidays. So we're going to talk about Jessie Hall. We're going to talk about Kindlegate 2024. We're going to talk about how in the world, I guess it's like the annual conversation of how can you read 100+ books in a year, and so on and so forth. So we're going to group that all in today's video. And so make sure you stick around. Make sure if you do like this video that you like, comment, and subscribe. And let's just go ahead and get started into the Jessie Hall situation. Let's get that one out the way. Okay, so Jessie Hall is a dark romance and contemporary author. I believe she joined Goodreads in 2021. I'm not too certain on when her first book was published. It might have been in 2022, but the book that we're going to be discussing was actually published in 2023, and it's called The Canary Cowards. Again, she writes dark romance, so off rip, she wasn't on my TBR. I never even heard of this author because I don't read dark romance. Okay, I DNF'd Haunting Adeline and I went back since, but I just genuinely never came across it. She is an indie author, and according to her website, she's a stay-at-home mom, and she works out as a part-time vet tech. I believe she still does that, and she lives with her family in Wisconsin, and she has a dog named Stewie. You're probably wondering, okay, so what's the big thing? Well, if you have Threads, then you know there's a big discussion around the holidays around harmful racial stereotypes that were included in her books. And then you also saw a lot of people on TikTok, or at least I did, talk about how y'all read everything else and y'all want to get upset about this. Okay, let's talk about what kicked this all off. First, again, I almost called it there's a tweet. It looks like Twitter to me. I don't have Threads, but I'm looking online and it looks very much like Twitter. Like, this is really Twitter. But there's a side character in this book. I think he goes by the name Candy. His real name is Kane, and I think in the book, he walks in a certain scene. Again, I did not read this book. I don't read dark romance. I kind of learned my lesson from Haunting Adeline. And I just haven't really had a real urge to want to find a dark romance that would fit what I want to read. Like, I would like to read a book that's very intentional. I would like to read a book that is consensual. And I would like the plot to actually be a plot, make sense, and be intentional. So I just don't really have a real desire to read dark romance at this time. But my Asian sister, she hey B, she reads all the dark romance that I come across or heard that's good or something like that. I send it her way and see how she feels about it, and usually she likes it and rates it 5 stars. So she could tell me, you know, the highlights about it and stuff like that, so I could live through her. But I personally don't read that stuff. But anyways, Candy walks into a scene. He walks in with a bucket of chicken on his hip and a bag on his other hand, like Gatorade or something. And I guess when he's referring to like these little honeys, he's talking about white women. I don't know. And it starts like feeding these ladies greasy ass chicken. Yeah, I don't know. I think someone was saying it was alluding to the fact of like, yeah, like Black people and fried chicken, like, you know, that's a harmful stereotype, just like Black people and watermelon. We're not the only people that like fried chicken and watermelon. No, everyone does. Everyone does. But just having that character written that way, or that scene written that way, got a lot of people upset. A lot of people were like, you know, I had to DNF right here, right now, and I'm not going back. And I can't say I blame them. I think it really became a bigger thing when other people who did not necessarily agree with the DNF or the upset or whatever, they are the ones that even got more upset. So let me see if I can pull up the original threads there, because this has become a problem for multiple reasons. First, okay, I found the original thread there, and I guess maybe he said something about like, I love white meat. I don't know, something about that. Again, I did not read it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to read it for research purposes. I'm just bringing y'all the tea. Okay. I have no urge to read this mess. Yeah. The thread goes, I DNF'd a book this year by a white author because she had a Black side character that literally entered into a room carrying a bucket of fried chicken with 2 white girls on his arms talking about, I love, I love me white meat. And I think about this probably once a week. Shout out to Kiana, because she a real one for letting me know what's going on, because I don't know what's going on. We've been talking about all the book mess. And when she sent me this, I'm like, this is cringy as hell. Like, this is just cringy. It was just really cringy. And I guess, and another one of my mutuals, she mentioned like people are really trying to cancel this author. I was like, oh girl, what happened? Because I wanted to see other people's point of views on it too. And she mentioned it. I was like, okay, but what was the intention behind this? I think that's my problem. What's the whole point of having a side character enter the scene or presented with such a well-known harmful stereotype? Like, what was the point? What was the reason? Like, what was the reason? I just don't understand. Is this, what was the point? I guess. Does anyone know? If you read this book, could you let me know what the point of it was? I just think there could have been so many other ways to represent a character or introduce a character into a scene, or just a different scene in general. Why would it be ideal to use like a well-known harmful racial stereotype to do that? What should the reader gain out of reading this? And you should always assume that you're going to have like diverse readers. So does this make the reader feel like, I don't understand. You know what I mean? Is this, I don't know. I feel like if I read this and I'm in the middle of reading a book, I definitely don't feel welcomed. I almost feel like alienated in a way. Like, what the hell? Like, I'm definitely cringed, and I don't know. It might have taken me out of the reading experience altogether. And I'm not continuing to read it. But I guess my thing is like, what is the point of this scene? I just can't take it. Obviously there has to be some kind of reason, because you thought, this is the perfect way to have a side character enter the scene. This is the perfect way surrounding this side character. And I don't know if the side character's like kink or whatever is supposed to be weird eating, like food situations, like a food thing. But why choose fried chicken? Like, could you have just picked anything else? I don't know. Nothing sexy about that at all. Nothing is kind about that at all. And it still feeds in to a well-known harmful stereotype when it comes to Black people and Black men in general. And what is the reason? And if you don't have a reason, then it feels like you're just setting up the scene just to be harmful, because you know that's a well-known harmful thing. Well, there was also discussion that she has a Black husband. I didn't even look up her family, but I heard that she has a Black husband. So, and I also heard that she, discussed this with him before it ever reached anybody, like before she even had ARC sent out and sensitivity readers and things like that. Like, and her husband is Black, and her husband said it was fine. That's what I heard. Here's the thing. Your husband don't speak for me. That's good for you and your husband knows you. I don't know you, okay? And even if I did, I think your husband should have done better on telling you that this has a high probability of upsetting people. You may want to change the situation on this. Or if you don't care, then you don't care. But if your husband was fine with it or didn't care, good for him. He don't speak for me. He don't. But also, I don't read dark romance. So probably a lot of the crazy things that are included in dark romance, I'm not always consuming. So reading something like this is just really cringy for me. But regardless of what your husband says, you also had ARC readers. ARC sent out, and people have said that they had mentioned part of their feedback was, we don't think you should keep this part in. Like, we don't think this is a good idea. And maybe you should have listened to him. I don't know how she's really handling all this stuff. We are doing a drive-by on what's going on. But a lot of people are upset. A lot of people are mad. There was this one TikToker that was like,
so let me get this right, you sensitive book talk bitches. Y'all read explicit grape scenes. Y'all read about captive and Stockholm Syndrome loving women. Y'all read from enemies to lovers to non-consensual lovers. Y'all read all of the crazy dismantling. He expired someone's life because he looked at me wrong, and get so excited about those books. Y'all got so excited about books that you harassed an entire hockey team, saying nasty, lewd, disgusting shit to real life people, not even characters in a motherfucking book. But when an author talks about a black person, that's it. I am a black person, and I own her books. And in the few clips that y'all have been able to show me of what she said that was so racially harmful, y'all get the fuck out of here. We read worse daily. Book talk is supposed to be for us to find good books. Y'all have made it political, y'all have made it racial, and y'all have made it disgusting, and you should be fucking ashamed for yourself. Do me a favor, and if you've made it this far, send this to every book talker you fucking know, because get it together! You are making reading not fun for me.
Y'all read this, and y'all read that, and y'all read this, and I'm black, and y'all want to trip over this? Yes, because we can. I don't know. But that does bring up a good point of when we read things that are harmful. Like, I don't like reading things that involve non-consensual activities. I don't think that's good. In fact, there was a therapist, I think, that mentioned something about Haunting Adeline and how it's writing about dubious consent without there being some discussion or education around just like how, biologically, even if your body reacts or responds in a different way, that does not mean it's giving consent, pretty much. It doesn't have that type of discussion in the book or, a part of the trigger warning explanations or nothing. So even though that TikToker was going, and I don't quite agree with the TikToker, but then again, I don't read this genre. So, but it does come up a good point. If you read a lot of harmful things that would definitely be harmful in real life, does that mean anything goes in these books? Does that mean anything slides? Does that mean if, okay, you read this book over for one thing or another, right? And I don't think I don't know how they would go about writing this, but I don't think there's any kind of like race warnings in here. And I know like there's like race play and all this other stuff and other whatever. I'm just saying, when you read a lot of things that probably would not be okay in real life, does that mean anything goes? Does that mean you can't dislike anything? Does that mean nothing should be able to trigger you in this dark romance space? I really want to know your thoughts on that. I think if it's cringy to you, you have every right to be cringed out. You have every right to stop reading, and you have every right to share your opinion. I don't know why other people got so upset that people were doing this. I don't know. Compare the vibe of like the thread to the vibe of like some of these videos. I'm just like, y'all, It's okay that someone does not like this part of the book, was offended by this part of the book, is going to DNF this book, and other people are following suit. I think, you see my keyboard. I think that it's okay. I don't know why people are mad about that. Anyways, I thought this was cringy to me. I don't read dark romance. I was never going to read Jessie Hall anyway. So, I don't have a dog in the fight. But I just think it brings a good point. You know, does that mean anything goes in dark romance and that you can't complain about anything, that you can't get triggered or upset or dislike anything because you read all this other stuff? Next. Okay. If that wasn't enough around the holidays and Christmas spirit, we also had Kindlegate, which was kind of nuts.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass.
It was nuts. What happened? Well, basically, Amazon had like a system-wide a system-wide impact, a system-wide outage. Something happened system-wide where a lot of people's Amazon accounts, and this included Kindle accounts. This included if you did or did not do Stuff Your Kindle Day. And this includes if you don't even have a Kindle at all. A lot of Amazon accounts, I don't know if they were flagged for fraudulent behavior. And I don't know if that was like a bug or if that was just, it seems like it was a misunderstanding, but a lot of people were locked out of their Amazon accounts as a whole for at least 24 to 48 hours. And this is like right after Christmas. People just got their new Kindles. People are ready to use their gift cards. People were just gifted or just signed up for their KU for free. They're locked out. Like, they are locked out. They can't get into any of their Amazon things. I think this also impacted like their pre-orders that they had. So when they got locked out of their account, it also canceled their pre-orders. Now, I don't quite know, as of time of recording this, I don't know what the deal was. I don't know what happened. A lot of people thought, oh, it's because I participated in the dark mode Stuff Your Kindle Day. Dark mode, I believe, is the dark romances version of Stuff Your Kindle Day, where you could get tons of free Kindle books for free. And they thought, wow, like, I never had this happen to me before, but it seems like now when I did my Stuff Your Kindle Day, I'm locked out of my account. Later on, comes to find out, it wasn't tied to that. Like, there's some people who didn't even have a Kindle account or didn't even participate in Stuff Your Kindle situation that was still locked out of their account. And I don't know what that was, but this also brings up a good discussion. I think people know this already, but it's never really on the top of our mind of like, when you are buying things digitally, you don't own them. You're like buying a license to use it. And I think this really got people thinking more about having physical books, or even just having like a different provider, just in case this happens again through Amazon. But I think it just kind of brings up the point of like, when you buy something digitally, you're not really owning it. And I think we're such in a digital world that it's, there's pros and cons to everything, but having digital product, it's just the ease of it. It's the convenience of it. You could bring all your books with you, but at any point, like, someone could say, nope, you're not getting into your Amazon account. Nope, we're taking this book back from you. And I think that got really, a lot of people just kind of like, oh, like uneasy about it. But I just thought that was so strange. Like, I don't think I've ever heard of that ever happening with Amazon or the Kindle universe. And that happens like moments after Christmas. And it's like, great, perfect, marvelous, awesome. Anyways, next, I guess this happens every year when everyone's wrapping up their like reading wrap up for the year, and you get to see how many books people were reading, did they reach their goals and things like that. And I guess this is a discussion of like, when people are like, how do people read 100 books? How do people read over 100 books, 200 books? Like, what do you, like, people cannot believe it, and then other people get testy about it. And I think people should just mind your business. Like, I read 33 books, and I'm happy and I'm proud. I think if I ever questioned about how people read so much, I was just curious on like, how do you do it? Like, I just curiosity, right? Nothing, no malice behind it. You know, I'm not, you know, a lot of people are saying, oh, you might not be reading it. You might be skimming it, blah, blah, blah. And I think the reason why this is such like a bigger discussion is also because recently this year, this past year in 2024, there has been, there's this one like major book talker who, and I don't think this was a joke. I think this was for real. And I think a lot of other people also could relate to it. But she was showing a book, and just because some of the words weren't like in the dialogue quotations, and it was like big like paragraphs of text, she was just like, why is there so much, why is there so many words? Like, why is there so many words on this text? Like, lady, you're reading a book. There's going to be words in it. But it's come to find out a lot of people do skim over sometimes large chunks of books. Like a lot of people just only read the dialogue and call it a day.
Is this book? First of all, the writing is so tiny. Second of all, why are the pages so filled with so many words? Like, what the? Why the? Everything I read is a flashback. I don't give a about your previous life. I really don't. I just want you to get to high school, and I just want to read action, action, action. I don't care what you did as a child.
I just feel like you guys at this point are like, why do I follow her? Like, literally, what actual reading does she do? Like, she's not a trustworthy source at all, and you would be correct. Does anyone else skim read their books? And by skim read, I mean only read dialogue. Like, you don't read description. Because personally, I don't care what someone looks like. I don't care where they are. I don't care what they're doing. I care about the conversation.
I like pages that aren't filled with this many words. Like, literally, every page is like, look at this. Are you kidding me? And I'm either going to become an alcoholic by the time this book is done, or I'm going to DNF it. Because without this, I cannot finish. You don't know what I'm talking about? Six of Crows.
So what ended up happening is I'm sitting here reading this new book, and I turn the page, and there's a paragraph on the page this long. It goes from the top of my Kindle to the bottom of my Kindle. It's that long. And I skipped it, okay? I skipped it.
And I think I brought that up because when you have book influencers who are claiming they read an X amount of books per year, and, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, you read the book, but you also like skim through it. And I don't know, for me, if I have to skim through a book, I'm just going to DNF, because that means I'm not enjoying it. And skimming books remind me too much of like high school and like assigned readings that I didn't care for. Like, no. Like, if I don't enjoy a book, why? I'm not going to waste my time on it. But I think sometimes some book influencers may feel pressure to talk about the new releases and to be a part of these discussions, and to kind of keep up with it. I swear there's always a new book every month, like multiple books every month. And I think that's why when people say, oh, you read like 200 books, how did you do it? But then when you, on the conversely, and I feel like there are people who actually read those books, like listen to them, however you consume them. I think they actually do. But then you have people who like, hey, I got to make content, and I'm just going to read the dialogue and call it a day and move on, because I got to get this up. I got to share it with my followers. I got to be a part of the discussions. I got to use these hashtags. I got to be relevant. And I think this is just a good reminder, like, don't worry about anyone else. I know they say all the time, mind your business, but really just focus on reading books that you enjoy. And that's all that really matters. I think sometimes when you have good reads and like these reading goals and like these and certain challenges, it makes reading a lot more competitive. Even like when you had like in school readings and stuff like that, they would have reading competitions and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you should read for your enjoyment and remind yourself of that. And it doesn't matter if you only read one book this year or if you don't read any, you know, or if it takes you a whole month. It doesn't matter. I think social media in general and it inherently cultivates comparison, because you see what other people are doing, and then you can automatically think, how can they do that and I can't? Or like, you know, how can I do that? They do that. And social media, not everything's real. In fact, nothing's real. Nothing is real online. So anyways, just find books that you enjoy, find genres and authors that you like and enjoy. You don't have to hop on any bandwagon. You don't have to read a gazillion books or anything like that. I think my reading goal for 2025 will be 12 again. And if I read 12, I read 12. If I don't, I don't. And the world is not going to come to an end. I just never want to be that type of person who feels like I gotta, like, where reading becomes a job. No, reading is supposed to be fun and enjoying to me, and it can still be educational, it can still be informative, it can still be thought-provoking, but I don't want it to feel like a job, where I feel like I don't even read large chunks of the book because I just have to put out content. I don't ever want to do that. So just remember that, like, not everyone is really always honest and truthful. A lot of people are about their reading goals, but a lot of people are not, especially not honest and truthful on what they did to get there. So don't sweat it. Anyways, thank you guys for bearing with me. I am on the mend. I feel better now. I'm just at the tail end of it. Mercy. So yeah, and I'm recording this a little late, so sorry if the lighting is like kind of weird, but yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. What I'm not going to do though, I'm not going to argue back and forth, but do let me know your thoughts on the Jescie Hall situation and the Kindlegate thing, like what was going on with that. Just everything we talked about in this video. Let me know your thoughts. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you. I appreciate you sticking through all the way to the end. And yeah, so if you like this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe as always. And until next time, I'll talk to you later. Peace.